Now, Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM, AM 630. WMAL.
8:37 on WMAL. The Bryans are here. Mary Catherine will be back in the house tomorrow. Big news from the sports world locally. The Caps have a new head coach.
They got rid of Boudreaux.
Yeah. And Dale Hunter is in. We'll have more on that coming up. Chris Moody joins us now. Chris is with Yahoo News, been following the Newt Gingrich campaign. So I have to ask, Chris, have you noticed anything? Has there been some kind of optimism more in the air, a belief that they're on to bigger and better things coming up, or what's it been like around this campaign?
Well, Newt spent the 2 days after Thanksgiving in Naples, Florida, which is a conservative enclave in southwest Florida, and every event that he went to was jam-packed with people out the door, and you could tell that Gingrich had not necessarily expected this and was pleasantly surprised. He spoke at the Hilton Naples down there on Friday, just the day after Thanksgiving, and an hour before the event even started, there was a line out the door, and they had to shut everybody out. There were senior citizens sitting on the floor, on the carpet, instead of sitting and watching it outside. And then on Saturday, he did a book signing at the Books A Million there. And it was the same thing, line out the door. They gave away tickets, 1 through 500 to line people up, and the first guy showed up 27 hours before Newt was to get there to get the number one ticket. So, that is a conservative enclave, but there definitely is a little bit of buzz around him that was not there a couple weeks ago.
All right, so you had a chance to sit down with him and have a conversation about a whole myriad of issues. What was the thing that sort of stuck out in your mind?
I did, yeah. We sat down after he'd signed 4 hours of books and 700 plus. I'm sure his hand was a little bit sore. But I asked him what has surprised him has he learned anything about himself? And he said, I may be more capable of calm discipline than I would have guessed. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he basically said that, I'm actually impressed that I haven't gone on the attack against my candidates. He has, he's a natural debater. He goes after, his opponents in the past, and in this case, he has calmed down a little bit, and he has to work at that. And he said he was impressed that he was able to do that so well.
Well, you get the sense when you watch the debates that he's the one that's the unifier out there. He's almost the guy that's breaking up fights rather than starting them.
He's really working at that, and like he said, he has to focus to make sure that happens. As you've seen, the debate moderators have given him so many opportunities to slam, Mitt Romney or to slam Rick Perry, and he always looks at him and says, "I'm just not going to do that." Now, every once in a while, he'll go on a little slight attack, but he's been for the most part, you're right, the unifier here.
I covered Newt when he was Speaker of the House. I was there for all that. And the thing that I sort of noticed of late, and I look at little clips of him on the campaign trail, is that he seems to be a warmer, friendlier Newt, a guy who is, on occasion, even capable of true humor and able to laugh at himself just a bit.
He has been, unless you are moderating a debate on national television.
Yeah, that's true.
You suffer the wrath of Newt. But I saw him with people for 4, 5, 6 hours over the weekend, and very patient, very calm, and even with reporters, he would speak with reporters until they were finished with their questions. After he gave them time, he sat down with me after the event. After he was, I'm sure, exhausted from signing all those books. So he's working hard at being a presidential candidate, not just someone that throws bombs from the sideline.
We're talking with Chris Moody from Yahoo News, has been following the Gingrich campaign. Now, we talked to Tucker Carlson earlier this hour. We've talked to a lot of other people who say, this thing that Newt Gingrich is a Tea Party candidate or is ultra-conservative is just false. I'm curious, you were talking about the people that were standing in line for a long time to get to talk to Newt. Do they see him as this great conservative, or do they just see him as a guy who is better than Romney and who can beat President Obama?
I think they see him as a guy who's better than Romney. A lot of them, I asked them, well, what about Mitt? And they said, well, he's our second choice. He's not bad. Gingrich does have a pragmatic streak in him. We saw that with the immigration debate that he had last week. He's a guy who thinks through policies and tries to put something forth that he thinks will work. And it doesn't come across as just straight ideology. So I'm not sure if he can brand himself as the conservative one. Maybe next to Mitt Romney he's going to try to do that. But I mean, there are certainly more conservative candidates out there. And also, he's been in politics for, I believe, 50-plus years. So when you've been in the trenches trying to pass legislation, you will have a record that is not pure because you're trying to get things done. And that's what he's done, and that's who he is.
Well, what about, where are these people who are standing in line enthusiastically to hear Newt speak? Where are they on this issue of his baggage? Everybody talks about, well, he's got so much baggage that his baggage has baggage.
They didn't seem to care.
Yeah, I'm sort of getting that impression. They just don't care about it.
We've also known about Newt's baggage for so long. We've heard it all the time for years and years. And at some point you just say, okay, well, this is who he is, and what's he going to do for the country? And that was the attitude of a lot of the people I spoke to in Naples. It's there, but I don't think it reflects on his integrity to them, and they're looking for a policymaker not named Barack Obama here. That's kind of what a major issue is here, and also they're looking for somebody who they think can put forth their ideas in Washington, and they've seen him do that with the contract with America in the 1990s, and they think he can do it again, and I think they're willing to overlook this past baggage that we've all known about for so long.
You tweeted out that you talked pot, Cuba, and Secret Service with Newt. All right, I have to ask, what do you say about pot?
Well, in 1981, he sponsored or introduced a bill to allow medical marijuana on the federal level.
Okay.
He's since changed his position on that. He went as far as, in 1996, to introduce a bill that would give the death penalty for any drug smugglers. So he's had a shift. I wouldn't call it necessarily a flip-flop. People change their ideas. Yeah. But he's had a shift on marijuana, so I just wanted to know, what does he feel about letting the states have more control? I believe it's 16 states plus the District of Columbia now allow medical marijuana. It's a real sticking point between, the state government and the federal government. Would he continue the federal policies of raiding dispensaries that are operating legally under local and state law? And he said that he would. So what you'll probably see under the Newt Gingrich administration is an increase in the drug war. But he also did say that he's interested in focusing on policies that if you're a drug user, instead of putting you in jail, getting you treatment, getting you detox, getting you help. So again, there's that pragmatic streak to him where it's not just one way, my way, or the highway. And the reason I brought it up was because three other candidates, Ron Paul, Rick Perry, and Herman Cain, has shown an openness to letting the states control medicinal marijuana. So I hadn't heard where he was on the record there, and I wanted to see what he had to say.
Well, Chris Moody with Yahoo following the Gingrich campaign. Thanks for joining us here on The Morning Majority. Good to have